The Mesa Police Department in Arizona released video footage showing a very obvious case of police brutality recently. The incident took place a few weeks ago on May 23rd when officers responded to a 911 domestic call. A 911 domestic violence call at an apartment complex. A woman had reported that to police that her ex-boyfriend was trying to break into her apartment. So when the police arrived, they encountered the ex-boyfriend, whose name is Eric Reyes. So they instructed him to sit against the wall, in which he complied. So they also encountered a man named Robert Johnson, and they briefly searched him because there was some, after the fact, they said there was some talk about maybe there was a weapon or something like that in the area, whatever. And Robert Johnson was near Eric Reyes, even though the two weren't together at all. And Robert Johnson didn't have anything to do with this. But so they began searching him, searching his pockets while he was on his cell phone. Then after they, pat him down a little bit, they instructed him to stand near the wall. To which he did. He walked over to the wall and stood near the wall. Then they instructed him, you can see in the video, we're going to show it to you. They instructed him to get down, sit down.
Get in there. What happened? What happened?
Get in there. Get in there. Get his arms back.
I got him.
Got him?
I got him.
Hold on. Watch this arm right here. Get his right arm. Get his right arm.
I got his left.
Okay, I'm on.
Again, we have to remind you, Robert Johnson was not the suspect. The suspect you saw on the right-hand side of the screen.
Already sitting down.
That was Eric Reyes. Robert Johnson was just there, and I guess he was attempting to get on the elevator, but then the elevator came and there were some more police officers that showed up. So he sat on, again, he complied, got near the wall. I guess like if we're going, with the timeline, my first question would be, why the hell is he being treated like a suspect? Because first of all, let me try to understand for just a minute. You don't know what's going on in the area. You don't know if maybe the two are connected. They're feet away. They're feet apart. So maybe Robert Johnson has something to do with it, okay? You have many officers on the scene. There's already an officer, at least one officer, that's near Eric Reyes. So the easiest thing for you to do, you already searched him. The easiest thing would be to question Robert Johnson, find out whatever you need to find out, and let that guy go. Let him go.
And it doesn't require him sitting on the floor
like a suspect.
Like a suspect.
He's not being detained.
He's not being detained. If they, needed to investigate something, it kind of did seem like he was going to be willing to answer some questions. And it doesn't require him to sit on the floor to answer those questions. I think it's just a matter of what the police officers wanted, or whoever was commanding him at that time to sit on the floor. That's something that particular law enforcement officer wanted for himself, to appeal to himself.
It had to be. Bam. It was like a switch. All of them converged on him, and then this violence started. He didn't do anything. Even if it was a legitimate order, he didn't do anything at all to be punched in his face over and over again and then taken to the ground. Did he do something threatening? There was nothing on that video that suggests that he was a threat to anybody.
When you punch or strike someone that's not a threat or not fighting, that's assault.
That is assault.
It's assault. It should be treated as assault, and it should be, I guess, prosecuted as assault too, whether they have a uniform or not.
No doubt. The dude that did the punch, well, the main dude that was doing the punching that you saw, he hit him at least what 3, 4, 5 times. Right.
There was another dude on the side.
Yeah, there was another dude on the side.
Landed a couple too.
But the main guy was the bald head black guy that was punching him. Now the first, I guess, 3 strikes you saw, they were quickly in succession. But then there was a final blow as Robert Johnson was falling to the ground, or actually like sliding to the ground. Now, there's no way to justify any of these blows, but the 4th blow, as he is sliding to the ground and he is completely in the control of all these officers on the scene. Like I said, if the beginning 3 blows don't warrant prosecution, the 4th blow certainly does.
I don't care if there's other officers there that didn't land a punch, because there was one main officer. He did most of the punching, and there was one on the right. He landed a couple, and there was four other officers doing their part in holding him down. Now, if 4 of your friends, let's say, held somebody up while you punched them, and you all were arrested, right? Aren't you all going to be arrested for the same thing? Even if your 4 friends didn't land a punch?
Because you were assisting them.
You were assisting them. So, honestly, I think all 4 cops are responsible in the same way, even if they did not do the exact same thing.
No doubt, no doubt. The Mesa Police Chief, Ramon Batista, he placed the 4 officers that were involved in this incident. He placed them on paid administrative leave. Of course, it's paid administrative leave, while the department conducts an investigation.
When the person didn't sit down, that our officers then engaged in use of force to make them sit down. I don't feel that our officers were at their best. I don't feel that this situation needed to go in the way that it went.
See, my problem with what the police chief, Ramon Batista, said, or it was really about what he said and how he said it too. You could see he was very guarded, and he wasn't capable of really criticizing his officers. He said that he thinks his officers were not at their best. No, your officers were acting like gang members, and they assaulted an individual that had nothing to do with what you were investigating.
That's like saying when somebody says you're not at your best, that suggests that they were a mistake, or they weren't trying to be at their worst, or they were trying to be their best and they just missed the mark. When somebody says, "Oh, I just wasn't at my best today," that's like maybe you shot 30% from the court.
Right.
Maybe you didn't hit your free throws, but you were actually trying.
But see, those are mistakes that are just like, you can expect those in the process. But you shouldn't be expecting assaulting people that have nothing to do with the investigation.
To do with the investigation.
And then later on in this interview, or the statement that he was making, he said, "I think it's important for our community to know that I have since moved to institute policy changes that will limit the opportunity where we will apply strikes to a person's face or a person's head absent the supporting conditions for that to occur." Are you telling me
that wasn't in place before?
Are you serious? You have to apply that, like you have to implement that into training, into like policy guidelines now that you saw one of your officers, or one that was very brutal, another that was doing some punching too. But now that you see this video, it just occurs to you, hey, I never thought about it before, but I don't think we should like violently punch people in their head.